Episode 8, Spiritual but Not Religious. Good morning and hello, friends. My name is Shashu Munrosh. On this episode, I'll be speaking to Christians about the two sides of the same empty coin, the coin of a life trying to reach God without ever actually touching Him. I'm talking about the spiritual but not religious, and just as dangerous, the religious but not spiritual. Who am I? I'm just a guy on the internet who writes a couple of newsletters for believers about the things I see taking shape in this world and in the faith. I'm not a theologian. I'm not an academic. I'm a man who walked for 50 plus years on one side of that coin until God flipped the whole table over. My spirit is heavy today. It's a weight of recognition because I see both of these paths for what they are, not just as intellectual positions, but as lived experiences. One was my home. The other is a trap I watch many good people walk right into thinking they've arrived at the destination. Before I get into the meat of this, let me clarify who I am speaking to. When I say Christian, I don't mean someone who simply owns a Bible, checks a demographic box, or treats Sunday morning like a social event. I am speaking to the brother, the sister, who genuinely loves Jesus. You read His Word daily. You pray to Him throughout your day. When He commands you to do something, you obey. You have a covenantal relationship with the Lord, and you serve at His command. If that describes you, then this message is for you. You are family. Listen close. For most of my adult life, I wore the badge spiritual but not religious like a medal of honor. It felt enlightened. It felt free. It felt safe from the hypocrisy I saw on the news. I believed in a grand creator, sure, a cosmic force, an energy, a vague benevolence behind it all, but I kept it at a polite distance. This God was not a person to know. He was a concept to acknowledge, a first cause, the ultimate watchmaker who wound the universe and stepped away. My spirituality was a custom-built suit. I tailored it to fit my life. I picked and chose from traditions like I was at a buffet. A little yoga for peace, a little meditation for focus, the karma principle for ethics. Be good, get good. It was a system where I was the final authority. My feelings were the compass. My success was the proof. My comfort was the goal. It was, as I look back now, a religion of one. Me. The doctrine was self-fulfillment. The sacrament was my own satisfaction. The only judgment that mattered was my own. I had traded the narrow gate for a wide open field where I got to be my own shepherd, and I called this freedom. I tell you this not to condemn anyone walking that path. I tell you this with complete sympathy. I was you. I understand the appeal. It feels intellectually honest. It feels morally flexible. It feels like you've escaped the messiness of other people's failed faith. But fam, it is a cage dressed as a meadow. It is a prison where you hold the key and you never realize the door is locked from the inside. Then by God's sheer grace, I was grabbed out of that field. I met the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Not a force, a father, not a concept, a king, and my entire self-built spirituality collapsed like a house of cards in a hurricane. But in coming to the foot of the cross, I began to see the other side of this empty coin, the side just as far from the heart of God, but dressed in the right clothes, the religious but not spiritual crowd. These folks don't claim that title. They'd likely be offended by it. They go to church, they know the stories, they celebrate the holidays, they post the verses. Their social calendar and their feed look like a faithful walk. From the outside, they check all the boxes. They have the language down. They know when to stand, when to sit, when to say amen. But here is the fatal crack, the one you can't always see from the pew behind them. They have no personal relationship with the Father. They have religion without the relationship. They have the form of godliness but deny its power, just as 2 Timothy 3:5 warns. They know about God. They do not know God. They know the rules, but they have never met the ruler. They follow the traditions handed down by men, but they cannot recognize the whisper of the Holy Spirit. The Bible is a textbook, not a love letter. Prayer is a ritual, not a conversation. Church is a social club, not a gathering of the redeemed. Their faith is a hand-me-down. It is secondhand information. It is a system of belief inherited or adopted, but never personally, devastatingly encountered. And because of that, there is a void in the center of it all. A spiritual hunger that the rituals alone cannot fill. And here is where the enemy sets his most devastating trap. This person feels that void. They know something is missing. The noise of life dies down, and they hear the quiet ache. But instead of turning toward the relentless, pursuing love of the true God, they often try to fill that void with a supplement, a little mysticism on the side, a visit to a psychic for fun, a deep dive into zodiac signs for guidance, a chasing after spiritual experiences and signs and wonders, not for the glory of God, but for the thrill of the experience itself. They mix the holy with the profane, coin and call it a deeper spirituality. Or worse, they simply settle into the dry, brittle shell of the ritual itself, becoming judgmental gatekeepers of a tradition whose heart has long since stopped beating. They become defenders of a building or a doctrine or a political position, all while the living Christ stands outside, knocking. Fam, listen to me. Both of these paths, the spiritual but not religious, and the religious but not spiritual, are sophisticated forms of the same rebellion. It is the rebellion of Eden. You will be like God. You will be the author of your own truth. You will be the curator of your own experience. You will be the manager of your own sanctification. The SBNR person does it by rejecting structure and creating their own God. The RBNS person does it by embracing the structure and forgetting the God it was meant to point to. Both are attempts to keep control. Both are ways to avoid the terrifying, liberating surrender of saying, "Not my will, but yours be done." I was the first kind. I built my own tower. I now look with a heart that breaks at the second kind, who polish the stones of a tower built by their ancestors, but have never met the architect. So what is the way out? It is the same for both. It is the collision. It is the moment you stop managing God and start obeying Him. It is when you move from believing in Him to believing Him. It is when you trade your custom-built spirituality and your inherited religiosity for a raw, personal, all-consuming relationship with Jesus Christ. It is the difference between studying a map of a country and becoming a citizen of it, between reading a biography of a king and kneeling in his throne room. It starts with a prayer that has no fancy words. God, if you are real, show me, not the rules, not the ritual. You, I surrender the authorship of my life. I am a terrible king. Come govern me from within. That prayer is the end of the spiritual but not religious path because it submits to an authority outside yourself. And it is the end of the religious but not spiritual path because it demands an encounter that is more than ritual. From that moment, the Bible stops being a rule book or a history text. It becomes the voice of your Father. Prayer stops being a monologue into the void or a recited script. It becomes a conversation with a person who answers. The church stops being a club. It becomes a body you belong to, where you are known and you know. The void gets filled not with more activity or more mystical experiences or more rule-keeping, but with the present, tangible, confounding peace of Christ, a peace that, as Philippians 4 says, surpasses all understanding, a peace that guards your heart and your mind, not because your circumstances are perfect, but because your commander is present. If you are spiritual but not religious, I was you, I get it. The freedom is an illusion. The control is a burden. He is waiting for you to lay it down. If you are religious but not spiritual, I see you. I honor your tradition. But he is knocking on the door of the very house you are busy cleaning. He doesn't want your perfect attendance. He wants your heart. Drop the coin. Both sides lead to the same empty end. Step off the broad road of self-creation and the dead-end street of empty ritual. Walk the narrow path of relationship. It is not easy. It costs you everything. But it is the only path where you find the one who has been calling your name all along. For decades, my spirituality was a solo project. I was the architect, foreman, and sole resident of a very custom-built inner world. The grand creator I believed in was a convenient concept. It explained the origin of the universe without making any moral demands on me. This was the ultimate appeal of being spiritual but not religious. I got to keep the awe of existence without the accountability to a person. My moral compass was a blend of karma, social etiquette, and personal comfort. Do good, feel good, avoid causing obvious harm, seek personal peace and fulfillment. The goal was balance, happiness, my own enlightenment. It was, in essence, a beautifully decorated room where I was the only occupant. It was peaceful until it wasn't, until life cracked open and the foundations of that self-built room showed themselves to be sand. There was no one to cry out to but the echo of my own thoughts. That's the deep loneliness of it. You are your own final authority, and when you fail yourself, which you inevitably will, there is no court of appeal, no grace, only the cold review of your own performance. When God broke into that room on October 3rd, it wasn't to add a new piece of furniture to my decor. It was to show me the entire structure was inside his house. I had never been alone. I had just been refusing to acknowledge the home I was already in. The shift wasn't intellectual, it was a transfer of sovereignty. I was no longer the king of a tiny, curated kingdom. I was a son in a vast, ancient, and living kingdom. Now, as a son learning the rules of this new home, I began to see the other side with painful clarity. The religious but not spiritual crowd. I see them in churches, in online communities, in families. They have the language, they have the rituals, they have the timeline of holy days and the lexicon of prayer requests. But there's a disconnect. It's like watching someone expertly operate a telephone, dialing the numbers, holding the receiver, speaking the words, but the line is dead. There's no one on the other end, or they haven't haven't listened for a voice in so long, they've forgotten the call is meant to be two-way. Their faith is often a hand-me-down. It's inherited, not discovered. It's based on this is what we've always believed, or this is what my pastor says, rather than this is what the Father showed me today in His Word. They defend doctrines but don't know the doctor. They celebrate the resurrection as a historical event but don't experience the resurrecting power of Christ in their daily brokenness. The Bible is a weapon to correct others or a manual for moral living, but not a love letter from a father that changes them from the inside out. The telltale sign, the quiet tragedy, is the spiritual void. You see it in the restless seeking, the Christian who also dabbles in energy healing or trusts their horoscope just for fun, or is endlessly chasing the next spiritual high at a conference, yet their own prayer closet is empty. They are feeding a hunger with spiritual junk food because they haven't sat at the table for the living bread. They have the form of a meal, the plate, the silverware, the napkin, but no nourishing substance on the plate, having the appearance of godliness but denying its power. 2 Timothy 3:5 ES5. The enemy loves this. If he can't keep you blissfully ignorant in a self-made spirituality, he will happily settle for keeping you busy and doctrinally correct in a dead religion. Both keep you from the terrifying, liberating intimacy of a real relationship. Both are ways to keep God at a safe, manageable distance. The bridge between these two deserts is surrender. It's the moment you stop managing God, either by ignoring Him, SBNR, or by reducing Him to rituals, RBNS, and start obeying Him. You move from being a tourist in the land of spirituality or a museum curator in the hall of religion to being a citizen with a job to do. You report for duty. For me, that meant the 3 a.m. prayers. It meant reading the Bible not as philosophy or rule book, but as a direct communique from my commander. It meant the terrifying daily prayer, not my will, but yours be done. And then doing the next often small thing He put in front of me, scrubbing a floor, listening to a relative's same old story, fixing a broken server for no apparent reason. This is where the relationship is forged, not in the grand statements, but in the small obediences. The spiritual but not religious person fears losing their freedom. The religious but not spiritual person fears breaking tradition. But Christ offers something neither has, a reconciled relationship. It's a bond so intimate, it's called marriage. So secure, it's called adoption. So commanding, it's called lordship. The detail is in the daily surrender. It's in trading your commentary for His command. It's in the quiet where you stop talking about God and start listening to Him. That's the narrow path. It's messy, it's personal, it strips you of all your costumes, both the costume of the enlightened free thinker and the costume of the righteous churchgoer. It leaves you bare before a God who knows you and loves you anyway. And that, fam, is where life actually begins. That is all for now, and thank you for listening. Please share this with those who need to hear it. You can find my writing at shashumanrosh.com. I am at shashumanrosh on social media. Links are below. Pray for me as I pray for you. Peace and blessings, fam. I'm out.